Now, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This video we are looking at the Thursday night football Draftkings and Fanduel picks. We got the Giants going into San Francisco, going to be without Saquon Barkley, so their offense takes obviously a big hit. We got 10-point spread right now. I think that might be climbing before this game kicks off tomorrow. So let's go ahead and get started. Look at some picks, look at some mock builds, look at both sites. As always, if you enjoy the videos, please share the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. You can check out other links in the description. Now, looking at on this type of slate where you have a pretty sizable chance that the 49ers will run away with it, being a double-digit favorite, on DraftKings, I'm probably looking at a lot of 5-1 or 4-2 builds. Looking at just the overall pricing structure, obviously, Christian McCaffrey is going to be your most expensive guy. He's going to take up almost $20,000 of your salary cap if you put him in the captain spot. Last week, no touches out of the backfield for Eli Mitchell. So after rumors that McCaffrey would be a bit eased in, especially early on this year, he's just been kind of a bell cow, and he's looked really good. Now, this could be one of those games where they don't need to push him much in the second half if they do have a big lead, and that's when they'll probably go to Eli Mitchell if this game is kind of secured late in the third or early in the fourth quarter. But early on, if they do put up touchdowns, it's probably going to be McCaffrey's most likely going to have one of those. Daniel Jones, 15-3. He looked terrible in the first half of that game, and then he was able to put together a really nice second half, use his legs, got a rushing touchdown, and through the 2 games, he's already rushed for over 100 yards combined, 22 carries in those 2 games combined as well. Against this 49ers defense, we did see Matthew Stafford have success against them, but it's something that I'm still not in love with. The Giants passing game, they don't have a ton of weapons right now. Waller's their best guy that they can kind of rely on. I don't know if I will be looking at a lot of lineups with Daniel Jones, but especially the fact that Purdy is way cheaper than him. $1,200 in the captain, $800 regular. In the flex, I'm definitely going to be looking at Purdy over Daniel Jones, even though he's not going to give you much upside with his legs, although he did give you a rushing touchdown that game. But they just need Purdy not to mess up 200 to 250 yards and like no turnovers or 1 turnover, and they're probably going to win a lot of games. Looking in the 8K range, Samuel looks really good. You have Ayuk a bit banged up, dealing with a shoulder injury. He did play through it last game against the Rams, but got hurt in that middle of that game. But played 52% of snaps, missed practice on Monday, and then he was limited on Tuesday. So it looks like he'll probably play. He's a fine option. Samuel's definitely interesting because he's only a couple hundred more. He's fully healthy for as far as we know, and he's been utilized more in the rushing game. So got a rushing touchdown last game. He's going to be on the field a lot. I think 88. I like him a little bit more than Ayuk this week. 7K range, you got Waller and Breida. Breida's kind of priced up for the fact that he's going to be taking Saquon's role. So he's 7,000. I don't think he's a great option just because 49ers are really good against the run. And the Giants, if they're going to be trailing by a touchdown or 2 touchdowns for much of this game, they're not going to be looking at the running game a lot. So I'd rather look to Waller at 74 as a guy that's going to be and has looked to be Daniel Jones's favorite target so far this year. 8 targets last week. And you got 6 catches. They've looked to him a lot in third down situations, and if they do get some passing touchdowns, he's definitely a big red zone opportunity just with his nice size. However, you got George Kittle, 66. He's gotten off to a slow start this year. He was questionable heading into week 1, did end up playing through that, but Kittle's going to have some big games. We've seen Kittle have some big showdowns and some big on like these Monday night, Thursday night games, Sunday night games. He's had some big performances, so I do like him a lot at $6,600. I like him more than Matt Breida. I like him more than Hodgkins, who is $6,400. The Giants could be getting another receiver. It seems like they have a plethora of receivers. Just the playing time is kind of concentrated on a few guys, but he looks all right. Gonna get some looks. He's priced appropriately, I'd say. You're not getting a great discount. He's not super cheap. He is the most expensive Giants receiver. Looking at some value pieces, Hyatt had a couple of nice catches. If they do take some deep shots and be on a showdown type of slate, he's the type of guy that you could look to just for one catch could be 60 yards and a touchdown, and that could be enough to make the optimal on a single slate. I like the 49ers kicker. Moody's has a really nice leg. Put up 50, kicked a 57-yarder last week, 6 for 6. I like him more than Graham Gano, who's kind of looked a bit shaky so far this year. Only 1 out of 3. Got 1 blocked, obviously, in that Cowboys game. He's still going to probably turn around and have a good year, but especially in a game where expected the 49ers to put up more points, put up more touchdowns, so you're getting those extra point kicks, and then probably move the ball better, get some more field goal attempts. Although the Giants, they could get stymied and have to settle for field goals. Not looking at the Giants defense, and then you got Eli Mitchell, who only got 5 carries in week 1, wasn't utilized last week. Christian McCaffrey was just on the field a ton, and that game was pretty close throughout, so they didn't really need to take him out. Maybe they didn't feel the need to. Shepard's been playing under 20% of snaps both weeks, so he's definitely risky. Dealing with some injuries last couple of years, and then they've kind of just brought in some younger guys, so looks like they might be looking to move on from Sterling Shepard. And then finally, the last guy I want to mention is Wan'Dale Robinson. He's $200 if he is active, and we know he's going to play a little bit, albeit even if he is limited at this price tag. Couple catches is probably good enough to pay off that salary, depending on what some other guys do. So he's definitely going to be somebody to keep an eye on. Looking at some mock lineup builds. Obviously, you start one with Christian McCaffrey at the captain spot. He's probably going to be super popular here. He's 19.8 there. It leaves you with 30. He's taking up almost 40% of your salary cap. After him, looking at Brock Purdy at $9,400. Like I said, I think he's a better play than Daniel Jones for cheaper. I think Kittle at that price tag, he's very interesting. I think would not shock me if he has a big performance, especially if Ayuk is limited with his shoulder injury, if he ends up missing. Throw in Deebo Samuel. We got $2,700 left. If Wan'Dale Robinson does play, this is probably a type of lineup where you want to put him in there just because you're kind of loaded up on some of these high-priced 49ers guys. And now you have $5,200, so at this price tag, you got a couple of options. You can go with a Jalen Hyatt, go with a 4-2 build, go with a guy that does give you some upside with the long ball, and you probably expect the Giants to have to take some shots. Or if you want to be different on the showdown, leave some money on the table, throw in Moody. You're like keeping $1,000 on the table, probably have a better chance to be unique. And then like if you did want to upgrade from Robinson, could throw in Shepard just for a guy that expect to be, at least he's not dealing with any injuries, and he'll probably still run some routes. Maybe he can get you a couple catches. So that's one build. Looking at another one. This one we will shake up the captain and go with Deebo Samuel. He's 88 in the flex. Captain makes him 13.2. Throw in a Brock Purdy here. Put in Christian McCaffrey. Still want to try to get to him. Be tough to fade Christian McCaffrey on this type of slate, but you can do it just to be different. Throw in George Kittle. We have $3,800 left. Now this one is where we could look to a kicker in Moody. Throw in Shepard. We're kind of saving a ton of money, keeping a lot of money on the table here. So in this case, if you did want to have a lineup where you don't play Moody, you can take him out, put in Hodgkins, or you could upgrade George Kittle, or you could even do Waller and then go down to Wan'Dale Robinson. That's probably something that looks better. Go with a nice 4-2 build here. You got probably going to be the most targeted guy on the Giants in Darren Waller. Give you some upside for catches, maybe even a touchdown, and then throw in Wan'Dale Robinson at $200. So that's another build that you can look to. We'll do one with George Kittle at captain, just because I think he's really cheap and kind of allows you to, if you did want to load up on both quarterbacks, it's probably going to be by going with one of these cheap captains. It'll be tough to do it with a McCaffrey at captain. So, not Darren Waller. Put in George Kittle here at $9,900. Throw in a McCaffrey to see where we're at. If you did want to make a lineup with both quarterbacks, it's doable. I personally would still like Deebo Samuel over Daniel Jones, so I don't think I'm going to be looking at Daniel Jones on this showdown slate just with his price tag, and I'd rather get to some of the cheaper 49ers skill players. But going this route leaves us with 4,350. So it's pretty. We've got a number of ways to go with this type of build. You could throw in a Paris Campbell here just to get your one giant in there and throw in Moody. I'll probably a duplicated lineup just because you're only leaving $100 on the table. So take out Paris Campbell, put in Graham Gano, hope that the Giants get stymied and have to settle for field goals. And if they end up not scoring a touchdown, kick some field goals, Gano is probably going to be in the optimal. But that's what I got for DraftKings. If I'm looking at some core builds, I think Kittle is going to be one that I really like with the price tag. I don't know if I end up with him at captain, but he's definitely going to be making my lineups. McCaffrey, and I'm going to throw in Debo here just to get those three. Giants, a little tough right now with the injury, but if Wandell does play, I like him a lot at $200. Tough to pass on that sort of price tag for a guy that maybe won't see a ton of routes, but even if he gets you one or two catches and the rest of the team struggles as well, probably getting pretty good return for your dollar. So that's it for DraftKings. Let's talk about FanDuel. All right, FanDuel, you got McCaffrey, $18,000. On FanDuel, you have $60K to work with, so he's not taking up as much of a percentage, but you also basically have 5K as a minimum for a roster spot on FanDuel Showdowns. Still look to get to McCaffrey, not paying extra for him in the MVP, so it's going to be super popular there, but I think if you're making cash builds, definitely the smart play. GPPs, you're probably looking to like a Samuel or maybe even a George Kittle at captain and hoping that McCaffrey doesn't get into the end zone and like Kittle has 2 touchdowns or Samuel has 2 touchdowns and is the highest scoring player on the slate. You got Purdy is $1,500 cheaper than Daniel Jones. I like him. See if we can throw in a Debo here. Only left with 7K, so maybe instead of going Purdy, I can get myself a George Kittle at $9,000. Now we have about 10K to work with here. Just looking if there's any cheap players that look appealing. You got Graham Gano's 8K. Matt Breida has 11K, so he's not looking much of an option for me. 49ers defense is definitely viable. They're 10,000. I think we look to them on DraftKings, but definitely can make some lineups with them just with how much you expect them to put pressure on Daniel Jones. We've already seen them have some turnover issues. So you have $9,500. Throw in a Graham Gano if you want to just bring a piece of the Giants side, or throw in a Darius Slayton. He looks reasonable. Leave $1,000 on the table. Wanted to upgrade the 49ers defense to a Matt Breida, could do that. Wanted to upgrade a Debo to a Brock Purdy, you could do that pretty easily. Just looking if there's anybody in the low 5K to 6K range. I mean, Shepard is 65. Hyatt would be better than Shepard, just with Shepard not seeing the field a ton. And then if Robinson does play, he's 6K. Take out Slayton and put in Robinson. We got $3,500 left. So this type of build, probably take out Debo, throw in Purdy, and now you have $2,500. Take out the 49ers defense, throw in a Ayuk if he does end up playing. He's $1,500 cheaper than Debo Samuel, so definitely a lot more interesting on FanDuel than DraftKings, with Debo just being $200 more than Ayuk. But I don't even know if I'll end up with Robinson, just because 6K is a lot different than $200 as well. Just looking at some other opportunities that we can look to. Still think McCaffrey is going to be one guy that you're going to be looking in on. I really do like George Kittle at $9,000. If I do want to try to get Moody, put in Moody and put in a Graham Gano. Now we have 15.5 left for the final spot, so could throw in a Purdy here. This one definitely has a decent shot to be unique just by having one giant kicker in there, and you have you have the other spots filled by 49ers. Probably be a lot of 4-1 builds on FanDuel, but you're saving $1,000 on the table just to be a little bit more unique. But I don't think I'll end up with Hodgkins on FanDuel or Breida. Probably Waller's my favorite out of the 10K plus Giants, and Daniel Jones at $16,000 is just going to be a little bit too tough for me to get to. So on FanDuel, I'm thinking Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, and I'm going to be throwing in a Debo. Just because even though he's $1,500 more expensive than Ayuk, I still like Samuel not have to worry about any injury concerns. And there's still plenty that you can make it work by throwing in, like, got some cheap Giant receivers, and the kicker, I think, has opportunities. Then 11-5. Could even throw in a Waller here and make it a 3-2 build. See if you could replace Graham Gano with, a Paris Campbell. Or you could even go down to like a Jawan Jennings if you wanted to. But definitely going to be heavy on the 49ers. Don't see the Giants really sticking around much of this game. That's what I got for the Thursday Night Showdown. Thank you for watching. Best of luck. And I will catch you all next time.